What's up, guys? Chase with EOTECH. Today, we're back on the range for another drill of the month. This one is going to be the Rune Nation Cold Start. This is a particularly challenging drill and works a lot of good fundamentals, especially if you're out there carrying a gun every day, which I hope you are, providing that higher standard of care for yourself, your community, and your family. So what is the Rune Nation Cold Start, you ask? That's a great question. All right, here we go. So we are going to have 3 magazines, count them, 1, 2, 3, that's math for Marines. And we're gonna have the first 2 mags loaded with 8 rounds, third bag is full. If you run this thing clean, you're going to finish by topping off with a full mag, which is just an extra good rep. To start the drill, you're going to fire 1 round into these low probability targets, and then you're gonna follow up with 3 rounds into the circle. You can run this one of 2 ways. You can either shoot it as 4 individual stages of fire and aggregate your time, or you can shoot it continuously. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it continuously because it's more fun and math is hard, and I don't wanna add up my times because then I'd have to get out my calculator and do that on camera. So it's a pretty straightforward drill, but it is challenging because of how small these low probability targets are. You can run this at 3 or 5 yards, depending on how froggy you're feeling. I'm gonna run it at 3 because it's hard. All right, let's see how I do. All right, so 16 rounds in a total time of 13:21. Now, for the sake of the drill, I did drop 1 round, so line cutters count, and that's you cut the line, I promise. I did drop 1 round, and I should have made that up, but that's not gonna change my time too much. But everything you can see here is fine in the circle. Cut the line there, inside here, drop that one, and cut the line there. So overall, that is a total time, like I said, of 13:21 and 16 rounds. What is this drill working? What is the purpose behind it? Well, you're getting a little bit of stress from the timer. You're getting a good draw and presentation stroke. Like I said, if you do run this in 4 individual stages, you're gonna get 4 draws and presentations. You're getting the good saccade practice, right? So saccade is the movement of the eyes, right? And we need to get a hard focus and dial in on that optic or your sights to make sure you're getting that low probability shot as best you can. And then you're going to rapidly transition or saccade your vision over to the high probability target and get good rounds in there. And you'll notice I got a pretty good group every time I drop the rounds into the circle. And that's because I'm actually not stressing as much, right? I know that my target area is a little bit bigger and I relax a little bit. Oddly enough, kept a pretty good group. And here I slow way down. I'm trying to make sure I get that low probability shot. And it does provide a little bit of stress on the eyes. And again, we're just learning how our body reacts when we're really dialed in versus when we're speeding up. So the other thing this drill works is learning how fast you can speed up and at what distance you're gonna need to slow down or at what target size you're gonna need to slow down. So again, we're working draw, presentation, reloads, and learning how we can speed up, or maybe more importantly, when we can speed up and when we really need to slow it down and dial it in. And you're also learning whether or not you can make shots like this and at what distance you can. Because like I said, you can run this at 3 or 5. You can run it at 10 if you're feeling, spicy that day, just to see how well you can actually do. 13:21, not a particularly impressive time. I've run this faster, but I've also completely failed this drill before. Now, I did fail here technically because I did drop a shot, but you get what you get. It's not the point of winning, losing, setting amazing times for the internet to look cool. It's about getting out there and practicing these skills, because when the moment chooses you and you actually have to employ your gun in a lethal force situation, you're going to want to have as much confidence as possible, because inevitably the situation is not going to be super clear. It's not going to be a nice, beautiful day, sunny, with a target that's not shooting back at you. So when you're under that critical stress, you wanna make sure you know how your body responds. You wanna make sure your firearm can perform. You wanna make sure you are confident in your skills, because this is a great way to do that with your everyday carry gun, whether you got your range set up, whether you're running it from a holster concealed. Now, you can also run this with a rifle. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do, because a lot of us do carry rifles in our vehicle, or we have them for home defense. And in those situations where you may find yourself employing a rifle, yes, it's less likely for civilians, still possible, a little bit more likely for law enforcement, especially with the shootings we're seeing these days. You really, really want to make sure you are confident with whatever weapon you have. So let's move on to the rifle and see how that goes. Okay, so you get what you get, right? That is why we go out here and train and practice. So 16 rounds in a 1340. So actually a little bit faster, or sorry, a little bit slower than I was with the pistol, and that is because I biffed that reload good and hard, but let's check our hits. So, in no great surprise to anyone, it is a little bit easier to shoot a pistol, a little bit harder to shoot a pistol than it is a rifle. So I got all of my low percentage shots in just fine. Obviously with the speed of the round, shooting this close, it's ripping the paper a little bit. But if you look, you can see that is still in on all of these. And so, yeah, I did slow down a little bit when I biffed that reload, something to be cognizant of. Got a little hung up on my hoodie when I was coming out of my pouch, and got a little hung up on the mag wall there, as you saw. But bottom line is we're working all the same things, right? Getting on the optic good and fast, slowing down when I need to, seeing what I need to see, making sure that as my eyes are dialing in on that low percentage target through my optic, I'm not focused on the reticle, I'm focused on the target, that I am making sure the optic is lining up, taking into consideration my height over bore. I'm not running a riser on this Type A rifle. However, there is still a height over bore consideration. So as you see that EOTECH reticle, right? So we've got the circle, we've got the 4 posts, we've got the dot. I'm putting the bottom post right here at the top of the circle or triangle or square, whatever have you, to make sure I'm getting inside that, because that is my height over bore. And I know that because I've trained it, right? So I've got a 25-yard zero on this gun, and I know that I put the post right at the top, and I can hit easily within a 1/2-inch circle or right inside of a tee box, something like that, depending on what kind of shot you need to take. So we're good. Again, we're working our vision. We're making sure we can see what we need to see with our optic. We're making sure we're taking into account height over bore. We're making sure we got our transitions. It's not a big space to transition, but we are close. We are moving that gun. We're making sure we're moving it cleanly. We're not jerking it, right? I'm seeing what I need to see here, then I'm shifting my eyes to this target, and I'm moving the reticle over it, dropping my shots when I need to. Working at trigger control, good biomechanics. This is a really great cold start drill to just sort of let you know where your skills are so that you can work on each one of those individual skills. So you run a drill like this when you come out to the range. That's why it's called a cold start. It's the first thing you do. And then you can move on and say, oh, hey, my reloads, I need to work those today. Or I didn't like how I was getting behind the gun, whether it was a rifle or pistol. I need to work on my presentations, making sure I'm getting that right in front of my eye. As soon as it comes out of the holster, as soon as I bring that gun up, to make sure you're fast on target. All these things matter. And this lets you know sort of where you are, helps you self-diagnose so that you can have a good, practice session at the range. All right, guys, so that is the Rune Nation Cold Start. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. As always, please make fun of me, tell me what I did wrong in the comments. And also, please, if you're gonna carry a gun, get out there and train with it. Thank you so much for watching. Train hard, live free. See you next time.